Hardcore Italians, and you're watching Cooking with G. I just spilled a little bit of my espresso on my foot. All right, so today we are making pizza monkey bread. So if you love pizza and you love monkeys, then this recipe is for you. Now traditionally, monkey bread consists of soft baked dough pieces sprinkled with like cinnamon on top, and then you just pull it right from the cake or pastry that it is. But since this is a Cooking with G, we're gonna make this monkey bread a little different. We're gonna make it Italian. Today I'm gonna be showing you guys the very simple way of making pizza monkey bread, the way that I've been doing it, and people love it. So without further ado, I'm gonna show you guys what you're gonna need for the recipe. Now for this recipe, you're definitely gonna need a bundt cake container or mold. I'm gonna be using this one. It's like 1 billion years old, but it will still do the trick. In this bowl, I have about 30 ounces of pizza dough, and if you wanted to make your own pizza dough from scratch, I did make a video showing you guys how I make pizza, and I take you through the whole dough recipe. So if you wanna do this all by scratch, you can totally make the dough. It's just gonna take a little bit longer. You can go to any grocery store and pick out your favorite type of pizza dough, but if you wanna reach for the stars, make your own dough. We have a recipe. In this bowl here, I have about 3 cups of diced mozzarella cheese. And in this bowl here, I have about 2.5 cups of my preferred marinara sauce. You will be needing about 2.5 tablespoons of minced garlic. And you will also need about 2 or 3 tablespoons of oregano. And last but certainly not least, we are going to be needing some virgin olive oil. Also, make sure to preheat your oven to 450 degrees. All right, before we get cooking, I'm just gonna take the edge off as we always do on Cooking with G. Today I'm gonna be taking the edge off with a nice cup of espresso so I can match that monkey energy for the day. And don't forget, you can use my code G, literally just the letter G, for 10% off all Hardcore Italians merch. All right, cominciamo. Let me show you guys how to make this pizza monkey bread. All right, so the very first thing we're gonna do after we preheat our oven to 450 degrees, we're gonna be taking our dough out of this bowl. Now you wanna make sure that you have some flour nearby so that it doesn't stick to the surface or to the other pieces that we're gonna be cutting it into. So you're gonna take it out and you're gonna make sure that it's floured enough so it doesn't stick. I'm just gonna press it out a little bit, flip it over, make sure that all of the stickiness goes away from our flour. And I'm just stretching it out kind of like into a square, but not too much. We want it to be thicker dough. You don't want it to be too thin and like stretch it real long and wide, because then the pieces that we're gonna cut it into are not gonna be fluffy. And that's what the monkey bread's all about, fluffy pieces of dough. Okay, after you press out the dough, we're going to cut it into little pieces. So what you're gonna do is grab a pizza cutter, use a knife, whatever you have, and you're just going to cut it right down the middle, just like that. Very satisfying to do. And then you're gonna kind of have it like at least 1 inch apart for your pieces. And you're gonna cut it all the way down so it's about 2 fingers length of dough. Next, we're going to cut them this way. Okay, so once you cut them into their little pieces, we're gonna add more flour because in between is gonna be sticky. And we've limited time with the dough. The dough has a mind of its own, so you wanna make sure that it doesn't decide, look at that, it doesn't decide to stick to each other. You wanna make sure that it gets separated by that extra flour that you're putting over top. Next, you're gonna throw all the pieces into a bowl. So we're going to throw them right in there. And make sure you're pulling the pieces apart as you put them in. They're gonna wanna stick together, but don't worry, they're gonna be sticking together later. Okay, now that we have all our dough pieces in a bowl, we are going to take our olive oil and we are going to drizzle some of that oil over our dough pieces. So I'm just putting about a little bit more than half a cup in there. Next, we're gonna add in all of our minced garlic and the oregano. About 2 tablespoons. Get it real nice, and you're gonna mix it all together, just like this. All right, when you're done mixing, it should look something like this. Next, I'm just making sure that that bundt cake mold container is very nicely greased. I'm using butter because I just like the taste preference a lot better than some kind of cooking spray. I just feel like butter makes everything taste better. And I mean, if you're watching your weight, maybe don't make this recipe. Now that all our dough is seasoned and our pan is greased, we're gonna be adding the dough to this container along with our sauce and our cheese. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna add a little bit of the dough on the bottom, not all of it, because we're gonna layer it. This is what she's looking like right now. Next, I'm gonna be taking some of my sauce. So I'm going to just be pouring it in there. Add a good amount of cheese. We're gonna add our remaining of our dough to this layer. And make sure you evenly distribute all that dough around the pan. And we're gonna use a little bit more sauce. And more cheese. And voila, this is what it's supposed to look like before it goes in the oven. All right, now that all of our ingredients are in our bundt cake container, we're gonna throw it in the oven and let her bake. This is what it looks like about 20 minutes in. So it's just bubbling, don't be alarmed, it needs to bake all the way through. All right, so it's been sitting for about 20 minutes. You don't want to take it right out when it's hot because it needs time to like settle in. The cheese gotta like fill in the cracks, all the sauce. So I let it sit for 20 minutes. And now I'm just kind of going around, hitting the sides, making sure that it's not sticking to our bundt container. All right, now you're gonna grab your bundt container, put the plate right on it, and you're gonna flip it right over, just like so. All right, and for the big reveal, dun, 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 dun. Isn't she gorgeous? We're going to put this sauce right in the middle of our monkey bread. It fits literally so perfectly. It's like a volcano of marinara sauce, just like that. And lastly, we're going to garnish it over top with some fresh basil from the garden. This is the perfect mix of like crispy on the outside, fluffy on the inside. Definitely cut those dough balls into like the 2-finger rule. You do not want them small. You want them big so they come out fluffy like this. I give this a 12 out of 10. This might be one of my favorite recipes that I'm putting out on Cooking with G. It is just so good. You cannot not like this. Like, it's so good. You can add pepperoni, sausage, any kind of topping. Like I said, this is kind of just like your standard pizza monkey bread. So feel free to add whatever you like. It's so good. I've been just sitting here eating this and enjoying all of its glory. All right, guys, that's it for this episode of Cooking with G. Remember to send me any pictures or videos of you creating this recipe. I would love to see it. It always makes me so happy when people try these recipes. And we'll see you on the next episode. Thank you so much for watching. Ciao.